Here we go. We're going to do some shooting. Like I said, shooting at 300, moving the bag around a little bit. It's still kind of my nature. I'm not used to having the flexibility. Now it helps that this gun doesn't move at all. I mean at all. But that's why I built it the way I did. I do have a varmint profile barrel on here, which is heavy. And that is awesome. Shaper break here. Today I have my adjustable bag rider out from adjustablebagrider.com, or Long Shot Precision LLC. I believe that's the name of the actual company. I review a few products, you know that, and if I shoot it, I'll review it, and I've done that in my past videos. And I'm not going to review anything that's sent to me for, a discount or for free or anything like that, any different than if I buy it. In this case, I wanted something where I could raise my rifle up, and I've been looking for something that can get me up higher off of the ground. If you watched a couple of my videos in the past, I talked about how I wanted to always get lower and lower to create more stability. But I've learned that I don't necessarily need to do that, or even shoot better the lower I get. In fact, I can get out of position with my line of sight here with the scope, which is why you want your adjustable cheek rest to fit your cheek at the height of your scope. And so then I saw this product. They make them for RPRs, MDTs, and I believe a number of other rifles. This is the MPA version, which is fairly new, and this is an MPA chassis. But what I was looking for was something that when I lay down on the rifle, I'm sitting at a higher position than I would be without it. I have the extended bag rider for the MPA chassis, and that helps a lot versus the standard one, but I need something that's adjustable, because what you end up doing a lot is squeezing the bag in order to get your elevation higher or lower, which is a very common fundamental of rifle shooting. You squeeze the bag. If you are in a position where you're shooting ELR, though, squeezing the bag isn't necessarily going to work as effectively because it's a firm bag. This is a protector bag. It is an angled bag. The angle, when I bought it, was so that I could move the rifle elevation by sliding it forward and backward, because I didn't have an adjustable bag rider. In this case, you just turn this knob here and it raises and lowers the rifle. So once I'm down in position, a struggle for me is I have to get into position, then sit back up, readjust my bag, readjust my height, and I can't do that while on the fly. This gives me the ability to lay down and adjust my rifle. In this case, I'm too high. Shooting about 300 yards today with the 6XE. So there. So that's all I had to do to adjust it. Now, the fundamentals of shooting in the rifle shooting is I want the rifle to come straight back and straight forward under recoil. The angled bag doesn't really facilitate that, and if you watch me in my ELR heavy rifle, I actually shoot the bag backwards. What that does is it actually is a better position for me. It holds the rifle more sturdy, but unfortunately it digs into the back of the bag and causes the front of the gun to want to go up like that, to bounce up a little bit. So that's not necessarily the best thing, but with this angled bag, which I bought, that's what I ended up with. The problem with bags is there's, I don't know, dozens of brands out there, or dozens of different styles of bags, and you go out and spend $200 or $300 on a bag, and then it doesn't work for you. It's really hard to get your money back out of it, or ever get rid of it in the first place. And unfortunately, I bought this bag. It's actually worked quite well, but I would probably have been better served with just a straight level top on the bag. And instead I didn't. So it actually, my ELR rifle, or my heavy division, tears into the material and actually ripped it all up. So I had to use an epoxy to actually to fix that, which I also did an Instagram post on. Not how I fixed it, but that it was leaking. So, you know, this way or that way, this bag is fixed. It doesn't go up or down. So if it doesn't go up or down, what are you going to do? I'm using the Accutech LR10 bipods, which are fixed. You can adjust them up and down, but basically their height is fixed. You can adjust them up and down, and then you can adjust the angle to get you lower or higher, but I don't prefer to shoot off of an angle. And if I was using my Phoenix, I can adjust the Phoenix bipods with the knob up front to raise and lower. And that's what makes them so versatile. Unfortunately, they're extremely wide, and I built this gun basically for headhunter style matches and moving matches of some kind. So in this case, I wanted to get higher on the gun, because once I come down, I want to be comfortable, I want to be relaxed, and I don't want to have to readjust my position too far down. Like if I'm clear down here, my neck gets cocked, as I've talked about before. So here, I'm right on. Got a fixed bag. Now what I'll do sometimes is, if you watch my shooting, I'll come up on the sides of the bag here, or even up on the top of the bag, because the position I'm in and the elevation I'm shooting, I can't get it down in there. It just doesn't work. So again, this adjustable bag rider would come in real handy. But ultimately, it was to get me higher under a stable condition. This company specifically, or this specific version of the adjustable bag rider, I got to admit, is probably the most well-machined, one of the most well-machined parts I've seen for purchasing on my rifle. The smoothness of the knob, I have taken it apart, and it just it's flawless. It is well machined. So you're going to pay for a higher quality machined product. Now, what this isn't going to facilitate is if you're in a PRS style shooting, or you're moving from a log one shot to a barricade the next, you're not going to have a lot of time to be going up and down, up and down, up and down on your knob, because it moves it in such fine increments. You can't move a significant amount of elevation. But what it does do is you can find your position behind the gun, what makes you comfortable, what elevation you want your body to be in when this is sitting on something, and come to a place where you come up behind the gun, and whatever it's sitting on, a bag or barricade or even your hand, you're at the height that you need to be on the butt pad, and that your head sits comfortably behind the scope. This is extremely important. I preach the fundamentals of shooting all the time, whether you're a PRS shooter, ELR shooter, or a cowboy gun shooter. When you get behind that gun, your body, your cheek, your face, and you know, in my case my toe, but your finger, needs to be in the same position every single time. It's much easier when you have that first shot, you're all set up, everything's comfortable, and you love life. You pull that shot, you do a great hit on it, 10x hit, and then the second shot, you're completely out of position. Or worse yet, if you're shooting off of different platforms, your fixed firing positions are different each time. You get up behind a log, it's completely different than the time off of a barricade. And you find yourself unable to shoot because you practice all the time from this position. Now in ELR, we're in this position all the time, but that doesn't necessarily make me a better shooter. And so I build my muscle memory in this position. That's one of the reasons I'm able to participate in the sport. I would hope at a high level, but or just the enjoyment of shooting the distance, which is difficult in and of itself. But you can set this and then make a fine adjustment at each target. See, so I've pushed this down in the bag. I've actually raised it out there in the field, because I pushed down. Now I need to bring this higher. I've actually raised my scope. Now I just lowered it back down, and I'm there, and it was just 2/4 turns. So that's very effective. Now also the same basic thing I was saying before. So no matter what bag I use Wee bags mostly. This is a short action custom bag. I don't remember all their names, but I shoot off of this one a lot, in that platform right there. And then I squeeze the bag to get me higher elevation. The thing is, when I get behind this bag, if I have this set and this bag here, then it's going to come to me every single time where I need it and where it's effective for me. That's important. So that's how it works for you, even though you may shoot different than me. You're looking for something that's going to put you very close every time without having to squeeze that bag. When you squeeze that bag, that's different every single time. It adds a margin of error that makes your consistency that much more of a challenge. So that's what we're trying to avoid, is that it comes backwards and forwards nicely, but every time I'm squeezing it a little different. In my case, I sit up, I lay down, sit up, lay down, sit up. So I re-squeeze every time, creating an inconsistency. And the same can happen to you if you're using your fist, or if you're using a smaller bag. I have sandbags here. I even have my pump pillow over there, and a pump pillow is normally for under your arm to give you stability. But whether I'm squeezing any of these, I'm squeezing inconsistency time after time. So that's where this can come in as a real advantage to you. And this is what I would use an adjustable, or I'm sorry, a softer bag if I was doing a match where I had to move and shoot, or I was having to get into position quickly and shoot. This is just too cumbersome, but this is what I would use for ELR. So basically, this elevated me at a higher position, which is more comfortable. If I'm more comfortable, I'm more consistent. That's an important ingredient. Where I started out years and years ago at 23.5-inch bipods, moved all over, right, left, up, down. I didn't have the inner core strength that I worked on over the years to give me more stability, but as I came down, I got more and more accurate. Eventually I got too low, and I started to lose accuracy because I was basically chicken rubbernecking, which you also do shooting normally. If you're chicken necking or rubbernecking all the time, you're an inconsistent shooter. You need to be comfortable. Literally, I can sit here, especially this time of year. It's 38 degrees today. I'm very comfortable. I prefer to shoot between 30 and 40 degrees. One of my favorite ways to do it. That's just because I've done a long time and I train. But I'm comfortable here. I can close my eyes while my barrel cools and even take a nap without applying pressure to my neck, my shoulders, or in my case, even my lower extremities. Whoops. So that's the adjustable bag rider. It's a little bit of long length of time talking about it, but I love it. It's got 2 bars and a threaded bolt down the middle that rides up and down. It is rounded off on the front. I would prefer to have it rounded in the back as well, just so that it doesn't dig into any of my bags and cause that popping at the front of the barrel. Now in this case, I have the tub brake, which I absolutely love. It gives a little bit of forward pressure down, so when the gun fires, the barrel goes like that because it has ejection ports up. Those aren't my favorite, but it seems to work pretty good here. But it does on that second and third shot. If you're not well managed, it's going to push that barrel down, and it's going to cause that second shot to be different than the first. I prefer diagonal blowbacks, but I like this brake, and so I have it. I will also shoot this suppressed, which is a totally different recoil, and you have to adjust for that differently. So bottom line, fundamentals of shooting is all about consistency. Consistency comes from training. Training is whatever works for your positioning. So this gives you the way of getting in here, getting relaxed, and every time you're going to come in behind that gun exactly the same. I really like it. It isn't just for me. It just doesn't make it good for me. I see how it can make a lot of individuals, give them a better position. I think it would work well, and I will be using it on the squeeze bag as well, because like I said, once I get it set for the bag I'm using, my height is where I need it to be, and now I can make micro adjustments that can get me where I need to be. It definitely works for prone and ELR shooting, where we need consistency each and every shot, but I see it having a lot more opportunity. It weighs next to nothing. I mean, it didn't add a lot to the chassis at all. The chassis itself weighs plenty, and it's built amazing. I don't see it coming on like adjustments coming undone. I don't see that being a problem, and I see it being something quick, especially if you have your right hand. I'm shooting left or vice versa on a bag. You can adjust that with a finger and be spot on. Forward forever, backward never. Thank you. Joy. There is a stability, bit of a challenge explaining. I'm acutely aware of recoil, and it's because I've shot, and maybe someday I'll do a little video on how many different calibers I've shot. But you become acutely aware of the recoil of a gun, the recoil of a caliber, the recoil of different size bullets, and how well your gun is tuned is an extremely important concept in having a gun that gives you consistency, shot to shot. So when I build a gun, I want it to have minimal recoil, both up, down, right, left, or even diagonally for that matter. So I want it to be balanced. I want to be able to raise the gun from the center and the gun not move, not tilt one way or the other like a balancing scale. Well, in this case, I built this gun. It's got a heavy varmint rifle or a barrel on it. I have a 7-inch suppressor I put on it. Gets kind of front heavy. So one thing about having your bag is that the MPA comes with a very short, very small rider by default. You can buy the extended. They have an extended that's got a little curve up, which I do not like because that gets caught on your bag, but it gives, especially the PRS shooter, something to push against, which I don't like adding that onto a small rifle. Works for many people, it doesn't necessarily work for me. So I like having this extra length, and I can tell there's stability there. There's stability there moving in a lot of different directions. And so this Accurate bag rider is a real nice piece of kit. And again, I'm not going to tell you otherwise. I pay for most everything I have, and I've made some bad mistakes. You know, like I would literally like to try another 25 different types of bags and find one I really like, but you spend $200-300, you're done. I spend a couple $100 on a bag rider or a magazine, you know, 50, 60, 80 bucks. It doesn't work. You know, that's the way it is. So anything I can do to help you guys not do that in this sport would be a benefit to me, and continue to learn. So this is just a great piece of kit, and I highly recommend it for various types of shooting. Again, it's not going to be something that you want a very small profile back here. This is a large profile, but I believe that especially for people that need to get behind the rifle in comfort, people who have health issues, who are older, bigger guys, however that might be, or a smaller guy, or even a woman that maybe doesn't want to manhandle a rifle, a smaller you know, individual, a teenager, even a small child. This is going to give them more stability than just trying to swing around a 17-pound rifle if you go with the full, you know, heavy LR rifles. So that's just my take. Check them out on the website. I don't really know them personally, haven't really had a lot of time to spend or meet them, but I'm sure they'll help you out in any way. I've had some Instagram messages with them that have been, you know, they've helped me in many ways, talking about even bags and whatnot. So that's where we are. Thank you. Enjoy. Forward forever, backward never.